Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I was thinking about what is the best way for me to still post a video this week, and I thought my empties are always a hit and they're the least work for me. But I wanted to give you an update as to why I have disappeared. So what has happened is that my family cat died. He was 12. He died about 10 days ago. So that was very hard for us. I understand that it's just an animal and it's a pet and whatever, but I think it was a bit harder because he was my mom's cat, and some of you who have been on my channel for a long time know that my mom died 5 years and a half ago. So it kind of just really hit hard because it felt like it was one more thing from mom that we were not going to have around. And I don't know, I think it hit me and my sisters quite hard, mostly because we linked that to, it almost made us relive losing our mother. So yeah, I kept low, and at the same time I had a lot of work. I'm currently now working non-stop trying to prepare for a project that I might start in a week or so from now. We're a bit all busy, everybody's trying to get some things done, and so I don't necessarily have a team to help me with the proposal, so I'm working by myself, and I'm trying to get a team aligned. So I'll probably end up getting some people from Germany or something like that, but I'm going to start working on that project. Once I get it, it's going to be 3 months down, and it's going to be pretty intense. So I'm getting for that, and I just thought, you know what, I have my lunch break in a bit. Let me just use half of my lunch break to film a video for you guys and just cheer myself up, because this is something that I really like. So I kind of took all my empties and I put them in here, and now I'm going to walk you through them very briefly so that you know what I have used up and what I thought of it. Alright then, let's start with face. So first thing, I have a cleanser, or yeah, we could call it a cleanser. This is from Neod, which is a brand by the Deciem company, and I have finished this because it is non-sterile, so you really want to make sure that you don't keep it more than needed. This is called, what was it called? Mastic Must. You can see I just used every last bit of it. Sorry about my nails. It's not my favorite cleanser. I don't like how it feels. I don't see that it makes a difference. Some people really swear by it, but I think the product itself was a bit too complicated for me to get the benefits, and so I just did not use it as much as I would have wanted to. So you apply it almost like a mask. It's just a yellow paste. You leave it on, then you rinse it, and then you're supposed to let your face dry without adding any other products for a while, and it's supposed to help with your pore texture. I didn't see any of that, so it took me quite a while, and I would not repurchase it. Then I have my retinol in squalane by The Ordinary, which is also a brand from Deciem. If you remember, when a couple weeks into lockdown my skin started freaking out, so I decided to go into retinols because they usually help with evening out the skin and working on imperfections. But because I wanted to be careful, I decided to start with something that is ridiculously low. So this is retinol 0.2%. I also bought the 0.5 and the 1%. This took me roughly 4 months to finish, and I have just finished it last week, and I started now using the 0.5%. I've used it a couple times so far, and I don't feel that there was any irritation. I think having retinol in squalane is definitely milder on the skin. If you have sensitive skin, you always want to be careful with retinols, but my skin is pretty solid. Like, I think it is quite thick. It does not have any redness or flaking, so I transitioned to the 0.5 with no problems. I don't think that I have many big breakouts, but depending on my stress levels, sometimes I would get a bit of acne on my jawline. Another thing by Neod, which is, as I said earlier, part of this Deciem group, is this repigment. This was for hyperpigmentation, because every single time I will get a spot on my face, I will just end up having a dark spot for like at least 6 months. normally for a good year. And so what I started doing is really try to consistently use things like that to help with hyperpigmentation. I have finished it. I'm not sure whether it was the most effective thing. Again, it has rave reviews, but I'm not sure whether I felt it's doing anything. I still have my hyperpigmentation. Things did not really move. So I switched to something called Medicate. I just started using it also a couple of days ago because, funny enough, when you finish products, you just finish everything at once. So I will let you know how I get on with that. But that one at least feels quite active. When I apply it, I feel that it's doing something, though it's only been a couple of days, so I cannot really assess. So I would not repurchase the Repigment, though I really love the packaging of it. Then for my day cream, I was using this one by LMS. It's the Pro Collagen Marine Cream, and it is anti-aging. Let me remove the candle. It is anti-aging. I don't necessarily need anti-aging properties. I had it for free. It was pretty lightweight, so that's why I used it. It was 15 ml, so half the usual size that you get in creams. I would not necessarily repurchase it. I think it did its job, and I switched to something else the moment I finished it. It's not really memorable for me. The 3 remaining things that I have on face are actually expired. So I have this Renew Skin Advanced Anti-Aging Flash Relax Mask. I had this in a Look Fantastic box, so I did not pay for it, but I noticed that it actually was quite thick right now. It feels quite bloated, so I know that it is expired. I think I used it a couple times, but I did not necessarily feel that it did anything to my skin. I feel that it's one of those brands where you have very cute packaging, sometimes a nice smell, and pleasant textures, but I don't necessarily feel that it does anything active on my skin, so I would not necessarily try to get this. So I'm glad I did not pay for it. This is a generic sunscreen from Boots brand. It's called Sultan, and I bought it in November 2018 because I was going on a work trip, and it had a snow component. So I just bought it last minute because I was thinking the sun reflects on snow, and so I would need to use that. I used it a few times, but then I realized that it was quite white, so it would leave sort of a cast on my face. I just don't like it, so I kept it for as long as possible. While I was on the trip, a few of my friends actually used it, but it's just time to let go of it because, again, it is bloated. You could see that it is expired, and I've had it for nearly 2 years, and I know I will not use it because it makes me look like a ghost. Anthelios. This I've had for quite some time. I bought it when I was in Belgium, I suppose. And it is quite empty. I did not realize that it was empty until I was just reorganizing my beauty cabinet, and then I said, okay, I need to get rid of this. This is, while I like the Anthelios line from La Roche-Posay, which is a French pharmacy brand, this I didn't like purely because of the smell. Every time I spray this, I would cough up a lung. And that's why actually I really struggle on using it on my face, and so I ended up just using it on my body, to be completely honest. Something about the propeller used is just not nice. Like, it really chokes me up. And then that same day when I was cleaning, I also found this bubble purifying mask. This was from my phase where I really like the Korean stuff. And I had bought quite a few of these and I had used them, but it was during that trend of the bubble masks. Honestly, I don't see that it does anything, and this one is expired, so I'm just going to toss it. And right now my beauty cabinet is starting to look quite nice, so I'm quite enjoying going through things little by little. Then we have here Dental, Body and Random. I wanted to share this with you guys because this is something that has nothing to do with my dental hygiene. It's more like hereditary, but I have extremely sensitive teeth. And so the combination of sensitive teeth and I also have a problem in that anesthesia doesn't necessarily work well on me. My dentist said that I need to get a very old filling fixed, and she knows I have extremely sensitive teeth. So what she did is she gave me this and she said, for 4 weeks I want you to use this on your sensitive tooth before we do any procedure on it. So it has a very, very, very high dosage of fluoride, but I don't use it as a toothpaste. I use it almost like a local gel, and I put it on and I leave it for 3 or 4 minutes, and then I rinse it out. But this is really good if you have decay, or if you have any big issues. For a period of time I was using non-fluoride toothpaste because I wanted to be like trendy, but yeah, I can't risk my tooth decay, so I'd rather refer to science. This is a mouthwash that I showed you before. I like the brand, I like the packaging of it, I like that it's recyclable aluminum. The price point is pretty sweet. I noticed that every time that I use this, it's called Waken. Every time that I use this mouthwash, it just burns the bit of my tongue at the very end. And I'm not sure whether it's because I would have used the fluoride gel right before and it kind of reacts or what. But I'm not sure if it's just the peppermint flavor. So that was really painful, and so I don't want to buy the peppermint one. I might next time just get either spearmint, or they even have one that has anise, so I'll go for that mild one, because I just feel like I almost dread the end of my dental hygiene sessions, because every time I finish I just have that burn, and I really don't like burning on my tongue. I don't do well even with hot food, so this is just painful. For hair, I finished the the Main Choice conditioner. So this is the 3-in-1. If you remember, this was what I used to replace my Kinky Curly Knot Today. It was the last one. It makes my hair feel amazing, but it has an overly sweet scent. So I did not repurchase it, and instead I'm back to my Moroccan oil hydration. It works for me, so why change it? But this was good. This was really good, minus the smell. Then everything else is actually body and random. So I have this Muscle Ease from Tisserand. You guys know I really like the Tisserand oils. I use these quite a lot. Last empties I showed you my relaxation one, I think. This one is for muscles, because I started working out 3 times a week. Nothing extreme, but because I'm not necessarily used to that, I just feel like I have a lot of tension. Also, my hamstrings and my hips are extremely tight. That's just how they are. And so having extremely sensitive hamstrings means that everything I do, I just feel like somebody's punching me there. Which is also why I had to use this Deep Heat. It's a cream that has a little bit of an a relief for pain. And I just use it. It smells like menthol. I don't mind the smell. I remember a few years ago, if you were to get something like this, it would just smell for hours. But this one, I feel that you apply it, and then after 30 minutes or so, you can no longer smell it. So I'm fine with that. I usually apply it on very, very painful days before I go to sleep. I noticed that I get a lot of muscle soreness after I work out, but especially if I have been stressed. So that has been a lifesaver. My ESP Drops. You guys know I always have these. So these are my post-poo drops. I initially bought them as a gag. Both my sister and I use these. She also has these in her apartment. And I have another one that is open. So like I never go without these, because at first I thought it was a funny thing. But actually they do work. So, and I just like them because I don't like there are some other ones you can buy in the supermarkets, but they smell so industrial fragrance fake. I just can't smell them. They generally give me a headache. So I think part of me being so strong-minded about fragrances is also about how they make me feel, and I feel like some of them will actually make me sick. So when it's something that natural, I really enjoy it. The packaging is obviously to die for, but quite expensive. I was even googling ways of making my own concoction, and then I said, you know what, Uga, your time is worth a lot more. And honestly, you buy this twice a year, you can afford it. Stop being so stingy. So that was my expensive food drops. This I got for free. You can't see it. Let me put my hand. It's an LMS Skin Nourishing Shower Cream. This, to be honest, I didn't intend on using it, I had just left it in my bathroom because I received this as part of an LMS pouch. And I was working slowly through my different washes, like my different soaps and things like that, because you guys know I'm trying to finish a lot of things, so I'm very diligent about that. But then at the same time, when I started working out 3 times a week, I really needed these indulgent things to help me. And my reward was that there were some days where I just felt like having something cocooning would actually make me enjoy the workout. And this actually is amazing. I did not check the price point. I'm not sure how expensive it is because LMS is not necessarily drugstore prices, but it really, really felt nice. Every time I would shower in this, I feel that my skin is soft. The whole showering experience is quite luxurious and indulgent. The only thing is, I would say, is that it doesn't cleanse very well. So it will cleanse your body, but if you have very, very strong, like super hardcore deodorant, you would struggle removing it with this because it's that gentle. But I really enjoyed it, and surprisingly it lasted me quite a long time. I think I've had this for over a month. You just use a little bit and it goes through the whole body. It does not lather a lot, but it spreads like a dream. I'm gonna need to check the price point on this, but if I finish everything, it would be one of the shower gels or shower creams that I would consider repurchasing. That's how good it is. Then I finished a tiny little perfume. So when I get ready for work in the morning, I usually have very, very light makeup, and I also try to have a spritz of perfume. And when I reorganized my beauty section after doing that cleanup of makeup last month, I just felt like I need to put little samples and things like that a bit more prominently, because if I don't finish them, I just have them and they're a bit of clutter. So I have like 4 or 5 of these small things, and I just felt, let me just use them first, because every time that I reorganize, I have to find a space for these, whereas it only takes a couple of weeks for me to finish one of those. So that's what I did. This is from the Atelier Rebule, which is where the brand that I had for my room fragrance, that I had also for my candles. I really like this. The fragrance is called Istanbul, and really, really like it. Quite enjoyed it. I would not repurchase it just because I have a ton of perfume and I don't need more. Dove Invisible Dry. I think I had mentioned this before, but deodorant is my impulse purchase. Like, I'm very, very controlled on a lot of things. For many, many things, I can actually wait for months. Like, for instance, the Fenty Beauty bronzer. I still did not buy that. I'm still thinking about it. I know I mentioned it last month and the month before, and I had been thinking about it for even longer. I'm still gonna wait a few months. That's how much self-control I have. Deodorants, not so much. It's one of those things where I always find myself buying one and then swearing that I'll never ever buy anything until I finish more. And I buy them. But this time I kind of managed to finish one. I bought another one. As I said, it's an impulse. I did not buy the same. I bought a spray one because I realized that sometimes when I want to touch up, I refrain from touching up just because I have a stick, and obviously it irks me to do it if I'm not just hopped out of the shower. So a spray sometimes really works for me. I didn't necessarily have to touch up quite a few times, but we did have a heat wave, and during that week or a couple of weeks, it really felt nice to be able to have a spray. But most of the time, I try to go for sticks or creams. So this antiviral hand foam, sorry, I bought it after my surgery because I needed to do my surgical dressings by myself. If you remember, I had a surgery on my foot. It lasts a long, long time. I've had this for months of almost daily use. Granted, I don't really use it every day, and also I'm one of those people who prefer to wash their hands with soap, not really use something like this and call it a day. Although the claim is that once you have it on, it's valid for 8 hours, like it coats your hands. So during the first months of the pandemic, that was quite useful for me to have because you couldn't buy this anywhere. And it was just lucky that I had it for my surgery, and I also had my mentee to buy it. And she was very glad that she had it too. Then it went out of stock, and yeah, I think the craziness is over right now. And I'm actually glad that people are a bit more hygienic, because people used to just, you know, sneeze in the street and cough and everything. It's not like what I have seen elsewhere. I feel that people here don't really value personal hygiene when it comes to disease. And so I really appreciated the switch that I have seen, because I think that a lot of people will have less flu, less cold, and all other, you know, cold weather illnesses. Obviously, besides the current bad one, but yeah. And then for the last random bit, I have this Essie base. So I have been painting my nails quite a lot during lockdown. I have been enjoying that. Today is the worst that you will see my nails. And matter of fact, I'm actually going to remove my nail polish after this video and use another one. But I had this Essie base. It did not last me very long. I'm a bit disappointed in it. I tried to add the drops that I usually use to dilute it, but it didn't work. It just became gloopy. Also, this was initially transparent, and now it looks a bit reddish because I used a lot of red nail polish. So this is gone, but I actually still have an old Kiko top coat, and I also have my OPI base that acts both as a base coat and top coat. So while I was almost tempted to immediately go and buy another one, I just looked at my collection and I realized that the Kiko one, although it was meant for like a specific formula, I said, you know what, I can still use it. And I tried it when I used this, and it worked quite well. So sometimes I shouldn't just try and stick too much to the formula, because they always say with gel-like and blah 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 and blah blah blah, and I'm like, it's a top coat, let's not over-engineer it. So yeah, I'm not gonna repurchase this. I didn't enjoy it. I like Essie as a brand in general. I like the brush on this because it's very wide, but the product itself disappointed me. I just randomly found this. This is the old packaging of Bath & Body Works hand sanitizers, and I used to have tens of these because, as I said, before this whole hand sanitizing craze started, I have always been a bit over cautious. And I went through a phase maybe 10 years ago or something where I was obsessed with hand sanitizing until I realized that it wasn't necessarily the best thing for the flora on my hands, etc. And that's when I switched to washing my hands more often. But I had so many of these. I think I at one point I had maybe 30. And it was again one of my impulse purchases. But what happened is that I used up a lot of these, and maybe I had 3 or 4 that were just in some old bags. And the other day when I went to my storage unit, because I'm trying to really slowly empty my storage unit, I know I've been talking about it for a long time, but it's because I want to eventually not use it and use the cost of that storage unit towards my fitness equipment. Because I'm starting to like working out 3 times a week. I mentioned in a previous video about how my tastes have evolved, that I now have an expensive taste for Lululemon and things like that. And so I believe in moving things around. So left pocket, right pocket. I don't want to be spending more overall. I want to move the spending from my storage to something else that I enjoy and that has a nice effect on my life. So when I was in my storage unit, I found this inside an old bag. So I just need to toss it, obviously. Because I have been doing a lot of voice meetings and video calls, etc. I had this little, what would you call this? Blotting sheets, blotting paper. These are from Muji, and I bought them a long time ago. Thank God these things don't expire. But when I bought them, it was to keep in my handbag with the assumption that I would be one of those very well put together ladies who touch up during the day. That never happens. When I have my makeup in the morning, I will look whatever way I look at the end of the day. But during the lockdown, I finally pulled this out after having it for a couple of years, and I was using it every single day just because I know by 3 p.m. my face is on oil slick. I really liked it. Before I was wondering whether I would ever repurchase something like that, but now I have found that just like with my nail polish, which I didn't use to be diligent, I'm now actually starting to use this quite a lot, so I'm happy about that, and I would definitely repurchase it. This one is from Muji. I don't think there are a lot of different qualities. There was a time when I thought Muji was inexpensive. I think it was a mental thing, because I used to watch Asian YouTubers, and for them Muji is like the dollar store. Okay, not so much, but it's an unbranded store, very minimal, etc. But I noticed recently, having gone to the store, to the physical store a few times, that every time I get a sticker shock, I feel that the prices are even more expensive than branded stuff. And so while it stands for unbranded, for like minimal and unbranded things, I feel that the prices are a bit too steep for me. So I will need to assess whether this I'll look it up on their website, whether this is actually at a price point that I find decent. Because if it's expensive, I might as well just buy the Fenty Beauty rollout thing, because it's super cute. But then again, I don't want to buy something just because it's cute. I mean, it does have refills and all of that, but I will have to do a little bit of mental math. And I know this is not the hill to die on, but sometimes I do this. I let's not forget that I majored in math and physics and things like that in high school, and that I'm extremely analytical. So it gives me satisfaction to know actually that, okay, it takes X pence per use or something. I know it's very nerdy, but that's me. And I wanted to mention a couple of snacks that I have been really enjoying. I might have mentioned the gum before. I have these peppermints, and I really like them. I think this was the last one that I have. I might find one in a random bag, but I really like them. They're natural, they're sugar-free, they have xylitol as a sweetener, so you have to be careful with these things, because they can give you diarrhea if you have too much. And then my favorite gum, you could tell it's my favorite gum. I even actually, one of my mentees was working with me on a project, and then I gave him one of these, and then he became hooked to it. So the brand is called Oh My Gum, and the flavor is cinnamon. I had their other flavors. Cinnamon is the best one. It's a plant-based chewing gum. That means it doesn't have plastic or whatever rubber kind of thing. So it's plastic free. It has a plant-based sweetener. Like with the others, you have to be careful not to have too many of these, otherwise you will get diarrhea. But I absolutely love it. From the first bite, that first bite is divine. Like the way it bursts, like the flavor bursts in your mouth. You just feel like you've just had a concoction of cinnamon, and the flavor lasts for quite a long time, and it stays soft. It does not make my jaw tired. So yeah, I love it. I think I might have a couple more of these left, but I will have to go in and buy them again. But usually I buy like 10 of these. I think they're a little bit more expensive than your usual gum, but I just feel like it's something nice to have, especially after a long meeting. I don't always want to eat something, and it just helps give me that little pep. I do either this or have a bit of a ginger tea. So that is it. This is everything. I've just now put all these things around, so I'm gonna recycle wherever I can recycle, and then put the rest in the usual trash. And then I'm gonna have to go back to my office and do some work, because my lunch break is over. See ya!